Okay, so it's 9 AM on this freezing Saturday morning here in Yorkshire today, and I'm still a little confused as to why we're here. Jason, would you care to explain further?
Well, yeah, I've dragged you out of bed, but it is a sunny morning, and what better place to come than, as I say, God's country across to Yorkshire. But I've got a bit of an ulterior motive, Carlo, you're right. Behind these red doors is something that I think is going to blow your mind. My friend, you're in for a real treat today.
Well, I'm intrigued to see what you've got in store for us today, Jason. Shall we go and find out?
Let's do it.
Excellent. Well, Jason, as truly exquisite as this trophy cabinet is behind us, I'm assuming this isn't the only reason you've brought me down here today.
No, that's true, Carlo. We could stand here and look at some of this memorabilia all day long, but we've come to look at some cars as well. But before we do that, we're going to go and find our friend of EnZari, and Mr. John Pogson.
Sounds right up my street, let's do it.
How are you doing? What's happening?
How are you?
Gosh, my
Good to
friend.
see you.
Well, I've got the sunshine with me to Yorkshire today, and I've also brought Carlo, who's just joined us.
It's a pleasure to meet you, John. It's an awe-inspiring collection that you've got here today.
Thank you.
I feel privileged that you've invited us down.
You're welcome, it's my pleasure, seriously it is.
So, John, it's a fantastic collection that you've got here, I must say, and I'm sure that several of our viewers will already be familiar with who you are and the name John Pogson and Italia Autosport. But would you be able to give us a rundown on what your company is all about here?
Absolutely, yeah, you're very welcome here today.
Thank you.
Yeah, Italia Autosport was formed back in 1991, but I go back further than that with Ferrari, and in the very beginning it was a case of I just wanted to work on Ferrari, and I went to the Mercedes-Benz and Ferrari dealership and said, I want a job. It wasn't advertised, I just wanted a job, and I got a job. And I worked for a little bit on Mercedes-Benz, but in those days, 1975, you never saw Ferrari. It was a dealership, but if you saw 2 or 3 Ferraris a month, you were lucky. It was really early days. But when one came in, I grabbed it. I wanted to repair that motor car. So I grew with it. I was very lucky to be in that position at that time. And so it was accepted I was the Ferrari mechanic of the outfit, and I was sent to northern Italy, Maranello, to be taught about Ferrari, and many stories, but some for another day. But I was just in the right place at the right time for that.
Yeah, there must be a certain appeal to your clientele. I mean, obviously the business is very successful, and just judging by the amount of Ferraris and other cars that you have in here today, there must be a certain strong appeal to bring their cars to a man and a business that thinks in that way, in the old school fashion, like you said, 1975, as opposed to the new, more modern techniques that so many people are succumbing to these days.
I've got some great guys working for me, so let's not be mistaken, it's not just me, I'm only as good as the people that work for me.
Of course.
In fact, they work with me, but to put the terminology correct, they work with me, and quite often, you saw me today, I'll be fettling something. If a 512 boxer comes in with 4 triple Webers to set up and balance, you can generally hear the old guy to sort out. On the board on the wall down there is a tube and a long screwdriver, and we'll be tight if anybody touches that. Mine, right? We don't touch John's. That's John's tuning tool.
Yeah.
And I tune a flat 12 or a V12 or whatever by listening to the heartbeat of the engine. And I'm not joking. That cylinder has an heartbeat. And I struggle trying to teach this, but my guys have got it. My guys they're not as good as me yet, but they're getting there. And one day they'll just be, they'll push me away and they'll be doing carburetors.
So how long did it take you to learn these skills? I mean, obviously back in the days when you began.
I still am.
There we go. But yeah,
I still am, and that's what's good about it. So it's why have I lasted 44 years? Partially because I'm mentally ill, but the passion never dies, and you're continuously learning new things all the time. It's fascinating. This is not a quick fit, throwaway world by any means in here.
No.
And I and we enjoy these things.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the love of the cars that you have does radiate from you, and even when you speak, the passion in your voice comes across quite clearly. And there's surely going to be a market for this going forward in the future as well, because people like you, I mean, it's sad to say, but you're from a different era. And although there are people in the modern world that do think like you, they're very few and far between in comparison to the masses. And I mean, these cars aren't going anywhere, hopefully, and they need people and a setup like this with like-minded individuals to care for them, to look after them, to maintain them, and to keep the passion alive going forward as well into the future. So it's nice to see that that's happening here as well, especially in the north of England as well, where specialists are few and far between.
Yeah, someone said to me, John, you need to keep abreast of the new cars. How do you get that technology? And it's a very simple answer that my love is for the classics. We restore Rembrandts here. We don't restore a shiny new motor car. We're entrusted to restore a Rembrandt. You wouldn't put a new frame on a Rembrandt, would you? So you wouldn't put a new interior in a 1973 Dino, would you? So that's the mentality. But we've got a job for life, haven't we? We don't need to know about the new technology. We'll just keep restoring these forever. Because my business plan is that, well, I'm going to live forever. I don't have a job to retire from. It's not a job, is it? It's a way of life. So
of course.
I'm going nowhere.
Yeah, for life, no, that's brilliant. I mean, how would you describe the differences between, because I know you've had some experiences in the modern machinery as well, and how would you describe the differences of taking one of them, like the modern vehicles, out on the local moorland roads that are around here, which are very beautiful, I must add, in comparison to something like an F40, or even one of the, and not less, and that's the wrong word to use, but the more run-of-the-mill Ferraris at the time, such as a 308 or a Dino, for example?
They're all much older, okay? So you don't love one better than the other.
No, of course.
The F40 is my favourite. It's going to be, I've raced two separate F40s and won, I think, 4 of the 6 championships in them. So, F40 was Ferrari's first 2.5 hours car. It was developed from the 288, which was going to be a Group B rally car. The Group B was stolen, and so the technology went into making the last car that Enzo really was involved with. Really was involved with. They're all different, on a sunny day. Dinos, well, 246 Dinos, but they're not very fast. But they're beautiful, and you get on the moorland road on a sunny summer's day, and you look across the valley, and you start to hum the Italian job, Matt Monroe, you start humming this, because you live in it. Put the glasses on and smoke a cigarette. You live in it. This is not. It doesn't matter to the fact. It doesn't matter.
It's about the experience.
And this makes me. It angers me when I see some videos of how fast you can slide it up a mountain, £1 million thing, and it's good up a mountainside, and tail ends out, and it's faster than this by 0.6 of a thing. It angers me somehow, because that's not what it's about. It's not what it's about.
Not at all.
And to sit and enjoy a motor car. Not sure to pass cars, I like fast bikes as well, but to enjoy a 308 or a Dino, or it's just another one of my children that it's different to its brilliant system. That's all it is. Love them all the same.
And I'm sure it's fantastic as well for the local youngsters in the area, the petrol heads of the future, to see you drive it, putting these cars through their paces on the local roads around here as well, because these people, they need the exposure to these kind of vehicles. They need it to go forward and share the passion that obviously you have, and me, although quite a lot younger than you, have also been fortunate to have as well. And it's a funny one really, because I actually saw a picture, this was posted on Facebook the other day, and the caption was, "This kid is going places," and it showed a picture of a classic Porsche 911, and it showed a picture, and in the same picture, part next to it, there was a new McLaren of some description in bright orange, and the child was taking a picture of the classic Porsche, and I shared that with a few of my friends and with a few people, and the response was overwhelmingly positive, and I feel like that's a similar thing as to what's going on here at Auto Italia.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, that, because I could go down a track and say, I know the few cars that I own, I know why I own them, and I know what they do.
Yeah.
And, they're time machines. You sit in the car, you close the door, and I've gone back to where I was. I'm so lucky, I have a couple of cars that represent a period of my career, and they are unrestored. They've got still got soul in the car. So you sit in it, and the noise of the door shutting and the smell. Close your eyes, you've just gone back in senses. So that's my generation. But you're right. The kids get it as well. I find that amazing. But I tend not to bother analysing it. But does a 458 or a 488 look like a McLaren? Does a 308 look like a 911? It doesn't.
Every car has their own distinct signature.
I think they recognise the shape of a Ferrari in the classics. That's what I think. Yeah. And today, a computer says that's the shape. That's the most efficient shape.
I think the new cars that they're putting out now are leagues ahead of the ones they were producing 10 years ago.
Definitely.
I mean, it was nice to see that the styling department still had it spot on.
Yeah.
That's something that I've never left Alfa Romeo, let's just make that clear.
No, you're right.
But I do understand from a mechanical perspective where you're coming from with that one.
How could you scrap a boost over V6?
Well, precisely,
but they did put a box over there. But there we go, it's good conversation. This is what happens in the world, isn't it?
It is, exactly, yeah. I mean, I suppose certain manufacturers, they have to do what they have to do to survive at certain times as well.
Yeah.
I mean, whether that was a good direction to go in for Alfa is one to be debated another time, but now that we can both agree, and most people agree, they're definitely back on form and back on track, it's nice to see a manufacturer doing well again, going forward.
I've probably seen 4 recessions in my Ferrari career, and I remember one early 80s, and I couldn't understand why Ferrari weren't making, shall we say, a 924 time car.
Yeah, and every month, right?
And they wouldn't do it. All they did was they lied about having one less than supply to keep the prices up, and they survived it, and they survived it well.
Yeah.
And other manufacturers went off and made a cheapy car, and I'm so pleased Ferrari didn't do that.
No. They kept it exquisite, they kept it.
Yeah, they did.
Ferraris have a certain level of aspiration for people wanting to own one, not just for the actually buying one outright, but also the upkeep and maintenance of a Ferrari as well. It's known to be in them high reaches. You need to have either some intense mechanical experience, and often specifically on the Ferraris themselves, or some very deep pockets to be able to run one and maintain one as it should be. And it does keep the Ferraris out of reach of the everyday working man, which in a way some people would say is a shame, but it keeps that exclusivity of the brand as well. And I do think, and I do believe that Ferrari are right to do that.
I wouldn't disagree with you, but I keep a balance on it. I try to keep a balance on it, because it's not an excuse just to put a big bill in because it's a Ferrari.
No.
That's wrong. But it's also wrong for the future of the motor car to do things in a cheap way. So if you find a cheap man in a village garage, you're making a mistake. That's why Mondial, you were very lucky to find a good Mondial today. They were 10 grand, at one point.
Yeah, they were.
So people bought them, went to village garage, had some paintwork done, things just went awful. So today, they're still not worth enough to do a full restoration.
No.
So it's a unique car to find a survivor, one that missed that out, but has retained its condition, So there is a balancing act, and it is a top mark. It is expensive. Don't do things on the cheap with it, and therefore your investment will stay healthy.
Yes, I mean, it's a shame that, I think, in a way, because it's funny you should mention the Mondial, because I personally really like the Mondial as a Ferrari, and I believe it's a very misunderstood car. And although the values are starting to climb now, I mean, it only takes a quick look on eBay or through the classifieds, and you'll realise that they're 5 figures less than the next Ferrari's up, usually speaking, and for one in decent condition, or as it would appear as well. But the question is why? Because you've got a 4-seater car, you've got a car you can use on a regular basis, do long trips on, in comfortable, and with the later models, still fairly potent as well. So that's one thing I've never quite understood.
2+2. 2+2. 4
I like the
seats.
2+2 configuration.
That's why it's cheap. And in history, throughout its range, if you look at 365 GTC Force, sister to Daytona, after money. One being 2+2. I've got a Dino 308 GT4. I mean, that's quite a special GT4 as a Dino.
It's a spectacular car.
A Ferrari 308 GT4, the Series 2 and 3 cars, after money of a 308 GTB GTX. So it's the 2+2, unfortunately. But I'm a bit of a rebel. Right? I don't really care what people think or say. I did own 3 Ferrari 2+2s, a 456 early, what I call a prototype car, manual and pre-airbag and the Daytona air intakes in the bonnet. Not a 550 Maranello, but it's his sister, after money. But what a car!
And you've got the added practicality as well.
Yes, the Dino 308, what a stunning thing! It's got such a difference.
They're totally designed.
The Mondial, I had a quarter of a Mondial. I had a Survivor. It's one that I've known just about all its life, and it was maintained here all the way through its owners, and it escaped the village garage. And I sold that recently. I hadn't planned to, but somebody asked me if I'd sell it, and I sort of regret that, I have to say.
Did they give you an offer?
Silver Bordeaux. No, not really.
No.
Because it's money, I don't want to sound. I don't want to sound, flippant in any way. But if I was lucky enough to own the Mondial, and shall we say it is worth £30,000-40,000. Well, so I've sold it. What are you going to buy? What car? What dream car are you going to buy for £30,000-40,000?
I mean,
you can't buy a Ferrari, can you?
No. It's not true.
I regretted selling it.
Well, I do hope that the new owner of that car continues to share the love and passion that you have with it as well, and maintains it in a proper fashion. It really has been a pleasure for that. Thank you very much.
Well, it's my pleasure, and I've really enjoyed it. But before you go, I've kept something up my sleeve. I've got a very special car that I want to show you before you go.
Okay, that sounds intriguing. Shall we have a look?
Certainly will.
Very nice.
Let me show you this car. This is special little car, is this, and there's a great story with it as well. This is a Lancia Fulvia 600HS, Italian spec car. A Lusso. It's got bumpers, and Lusso means it's got bumpers and rubber mats.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful colour, but I'm aware that this is also a rare spec with these 1600 HFs. Are rising in value quite quickly as well, I do believe.
The great story about this car is that it belonged to Vincenzo Lancia's niece.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, and this is why it's in this Lancia blue. It's a very popular colour in the 60s, the Lancias. And it's an unrestored car as well.
I mean, given its age, it really is an immaculate condition.
Just look at the orange paint that's still on the water hoses. The sort of thing that's on the bolt, on the suspension. Those were painted on when this was assembled in 1972.
And it's kept the patina to this day.
So I found this motor car in an underground garage in Monaco. Belonged to an Italian who lived in Torino and I lived in Monaco. So I did a lot of research and spoke to the guy in great depth, jumped on an airplane with the intention of going down and having a look at it. Well, I was stunned. I was just taken back. You know, this car, every single washer and screw is factory. Every seal, everything is exactly where it should be.
I mean, these are a stunning car to begin with, but to get one in such an unmolested condition from factory as well, added to that the story behind the car, it really is something.
I worked on these when they were brand new and in the early 70s, and so I wanted one like that. I didn't really want one to restore. I wanted to see things like this and the smell of the interior and so on. So this is exactly what I wanted, and we did a deal, and instead of transporting it back, I just drove it home, back to Yorkshire, and it never missed a beat. It was incredible, what a journey.